What's up guys, welcome back to Cars, Cost, and Technology. In today's video I want to go over some of my biggest regrets on my 2020 C8 Corvette spec with you. Now what I mean by that is the actual options that I chose, not the car itself. I'm very happy with the car and have no regrets there. I have a lot more videos coming out soon with some good information on the car as well as some positive feedback, so stay tuned for that. But for now I want to talk about some things that after seeing in person and driving the car for a while, I probably would have done differently. And the biggest factor in all that is the amount of time that elapsed from when I actually placed the order to the car arriving. So much changed in that time period that, again, it made some of my options sort of look like the wrong decision for me. Now, the biggest thing was I was concerned with production constraints. Some of you may remember when the C8 was initially announced and people were starting to put their orders in at dealerships, there was a lot of talk about different features and different options that were going to be constrained due to the availability of those parts with the plant. So I was trying to avoid any options that could have potentially slowed down the build week of my car. And obviously, with all the different delays and everything that happened with the C8 Corvette, the production constraints were sort of out of the window by the time that my car actually got built. So had I known that, I probably would have selected a few different options. There was also a lot of thought put into making the car a good daily driver. I wanted the options to hold up to the demand of daily driving and certain things that I thought wouldn't really go well with the car being driven all the time. I ended up buying a different vehicle because of how long the C8 Corvette took to get here, so I don't really daily drive it anymore, and I have another video coming out on that soon, so stay tuned for that. But my point is, a lot of these different things that influenced the decisions I made on the options ended up really not being relevant by the time the car actually got here. So it is what it is, but again, it's not a deal breaker. I still absolutely love my car and the options that I chose. I just wanted to share a little bit of feedback on some things I probably would do differently, and hopefully it helps some of you in choosing your options on your car. So the first thing that I want to talk about is carbon fiber options. I didn't go with any carbon fiber on my C8 because typically that's one of the first things to get constrained on previous generation Corvettes. So I thought there's a high probability if I opt for carbon fiber features, it's going to slow the car down and it may take longer for me to get it. I was sort of correct in that suspicion because the carbon fiber ground effects were one of the first things to be constrained and start to be pulled from orders. I don't think it ever actually slowed anyone's order down. It may have just gotten removed from your order and you got the car without it. So I don't think it ever actually had the impact that I thought it would have originally had. And there were also some other carbon fiber options that never did have any issues. So things like the engine appearance package, the carbon fiber interior trim pieces, or the carbon fiber roof panel. To my knowledge, none of those have ever been constrained or caused any issues with build weeks. So those are things that I probably wish I would have went with on my car, just to add that nice finishing touch of some carbon fiber throughout the interior or the exterior. With this car looking more like a supercar and an exotic, having some carbon fiber throughout would have definitely been a nice touch, and I definitely wish that I could have went with that. But like I said, with the reasoning that I had, it sounded like a good decision in the beginning. Now I'm just looking back thinking that probably wasn't the best decision. Next thing I want to talk about is the interior colors that I went with. I'm very happy with my interior and I think it looks good, but I definitely would do things slightly different if I could go back and do it all over again. I went with pretty much all jet black and then the torch red seat belts, which I think is a good look, but I wish I would have gotten more red accents in the interior. The reason I didn't go with the adrenaline red interior was, number one, I know that from what I've seen in the past, the red leather doesn't age quite as well as the black leather does. It looks like it shows signs of wear sooner, gets dirty easier, and with this car originally supposed to be my daily driver, I thought that red interior may not hold up very well. Number two is I didn't really care for an all red seat with a red car. I just thought that that would look like too much red, so I was sort of steering clear of that. Now, what I figured out that really what I should have done is went with the GT2 seat and then opted for the two-tone seat color option. That would have allowed me to remove the torch red seatbelt option and basically save about $400 there, bringing the total cost up by about $1,500 to go with that option. That would have given me the red and black contrast throughout the interior with the stitching, the accent on the steering wheel, as well as the seats themselves. And I think that would have looked a lot better, and it would have added some carbon fiber because the GT2 seats have carbon fiber underneath the headrest. So I think that would have been a much better way to go, and that would have only added $1,500. So that's a very small overall cost to add to an almost $80,000 car to get that much better look in the interior, more exotic looking, and have that red contrast without it being too much red. But, you know, I haven't actually seen this color combo in person. It's tough to say if I would have liked it too much better than mine. I do like the clean and stealthy look of the black interior, but I definitely wish that I would have shooken it up a little bit and went with this red and black color contrast. I think it would have been a much better fit for this car overall, and definitely more special feeling when you hop into the interior. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the high wing spoiler. I went with the Z51 spoiler just because it comes with the Z51 package, but the high wing spoiler is a really good looking wing, and after seeing it in person, a lot more videos and pictures of it, it's really growing on me, and I do wish that I had that on my car. It's still something that I may be able to get down the road, since it is considered an LPO accessory and something that's actually installed at the dealership, not at the plant itself. So it's something that I may consider getting, but it's growing on me more and more. I'm starting to think that that's the way to go with the C8 Corvette. With that being constrained as well, that's not available right now. It's one of those things that I don't think my car would have made the cutoff to begin with, even if I would have selected that option from the beginning. But just these three things alone, whether you're talking about a few carbon fiber pieces, the GT2 seats and red contrast in the interior, or the high wing spoiler, I could have basically added all these different things for about less than $5,000 to the overall sticker price of the car. And I think that that would have made a pretty big difference in the look and the feel. Would have made it feel a lot more rare, special, exotic, whatever you want to call it. And my car still does feel really good. Again, I don't want to come across as ungrateful or not enjoying my car, but there's always some things that you wish you could do just slightly different. Another side note that I had, and this is a much smaller factor, but in the 2021 model year, they actually introduced wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, and that's pretty much all I use in my car for the infotainment system, for phone calls, music, navigation. So I really wish that I could have had the wireless Android Auto. Not a big deal, and I definitely wasn't willing to wait for a 2021 model to get that feature. Also, my car would have been about $1,500 more if it were a 2021, because they increased some of the package pricing that I went with on my car. So again, definitely not something that I would have waited for, but it would have been nice to see that wireless Android Auto available in the 2020 model, since that's something that I use all the time, and would have been a really nice feature. But anyway, guys, these are just a few things that I wanted to pass along, just some feedback on the options that I selected that probably wish that I would have went a little bit different route. I will say, in terms of functionality or actual mechanical features on the car, I'm very happy with everything I selected. I went with the magnetic ride control suspension, the front end lift, Z51 package, 2LT trim level. So everything there I think is very functional. I have all the features that I want. It's just really some appearance related things or cosmetic things that I sort of wish I would have done slightly differently. Without a significantly higher cost, I think that it would have definitely made the car look really good. But let me know your thoughts below. Do you agree with any of these, or what feedback do you have on my spec? Obviously, down the road, I may be able to get a Z06 or another level of the C8 Corvette and maybe do things a little bit differently at that point. But for now, I am still happy with the car. Just wanted to share a little bit of feedback on some things I would probably do differently. Anyway, guys, look forward to hearing your feedback in the comments below. Thanks so much for the continued support, and I will talk to you in the next video. Hope you have a great day.